Welcome to the Jarek Brian Show. My name is Jarek, and on today's show, guys, we've got a very special guest. We got DK with Crash Test Joyride. And DK, buddy, how are you doing?
Jarek, doing fantastic, brother. Fantastic. Just absolutely honored to be on the show, man, with you.
Oh, man, I'm super honored too, man. I've heard a lot of great things about you guys with Shredding Sassy. And kind of, DK, before we kind of get into, Crash Test Joyride, like kind of give us your journey kind of all the way here in Web3, and how'd you get here?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, it's been a little while. Maybe not as long. I think I can consider myself an OG. I think if you've done at least a year, you're pretty much solidified on that end. But no, I started in 2021. I just had my first kid when I kind of started, and it's the normal kind of onboarding, right? The homie was like, "Hey, look at this dog coin that I just made 5 G's on. You should jump in." I heard about crypto, all the way back to 2017, right? I just never really tapped in. I seen he showed me his wallet, Jarek, and I was like, holy hell. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I bought Shiba in 2021, made like maybe a couple $100. I made like $600 on Doge. My first week trading was probably my best week trading. Yeah. From there, man, I just kind of fell in love with, the tech, the use cases for everything, and after probably about 6 or 7 months there, I kind of discovered NFTs, and for me, NFTs was a really different animal because, I kind of, learned on, to be frank, shit coins, which is a crazy way to get onboarded. Then discovering like altcoins and then exchange coins, and then even just learning more about Bitcoin and Ethereum itself, and how Ethereum works. And that's what led me to NFTs, one thing for me, the reason why I popped into NFTs was, and I think it was late 2021, my wife's an artist. My wife, we met when we were 14, 15. She's been drawing just for fun. Her whole family draws. It like literally runs in the blood down to the kids. I just always thought, as we got older, it's like, man, she's so good at it. She has so much sauce. Like, someone needs to see this, and like, I know it's hard though to kind of figure that out in Web 2 when it comes to an artist. But NFTs gave us that avenue, and that's kind of how I jumped in. From there, kind of degenning flips and, figuring out how to, mint stuff, it was quite a learning experience. And, even back in 2022, early 2022, things are a lot different now, right? When it comes to launching your own collection, and, I went through the whole, hash slips, big shout out to the homie, on the whole write-up on how to create your own generative collection and, setting all that up. Never actually launched it actually. But ended up, kind of, discovering NFTs, and, at first, again, I'm just flipping, I'm just trading, but Crash Test actually, and I think maybe March 2022 I got in. Crash Test was the first project for me where I was able to kind of peel the layer back on NFTs and really, really see like what it's all about. And when you peel those layers back, Jarek, as you know, man, you find community, you find people doing amazing things with IP, you find people, building, whether it be devs or artists or people like you, Jarek, right? Or Sleep, or, a number of people just doing so many amazing things. And not only just that, right? Just vibing out, just hanging out all day, having fun, buying JPEGs, talking about life, doing this and that. Spaces, oh my God. I mean, big shout out to D Slim from Crash Test, onboarded me to the community. He got me in my first space, and so, from there, man, we just had a really wild kind of ride when it came to Crash Test with our journey. And, that's, how I was kind of taught community, building, what people are actually doing. This isn't just it's not even just art. It's not even just, pump and dumps. It's so much more than any of that. It's all of that too. but it's so much more. So, and kind of from there, man, I just, I've never been a social media guy, to be honest. Twitter, discovering Twitter with, crypto and NFTs and kind of building my brand on Twitter, which is really crazy for me to think. I'm really just a kind of 9-to-5 grinder. And it just, kind of just snowballed from there, man. I really just fell in love with the people, the art, what everybody's doing, the opportunities that you have in Web3 are, whether that be jobs or making your own project or flipping or trading, like whatever your niche is, you can do. And I also noticed that a lot of my skills in Web2, I run a call center, I've been doing it for 10, 11 years, started on the phone, now managing a bunch of people. All those skills, all that applies here, right? I mean, and that goes for everybody too. It doesn't matter what profession, what you've been doing, all that applies here. So, I could probably talk a little bit more about it, but that's kind of how my journey kind of started.
Yeah, no, and it's it's just kind of like this whole, that's how I got kind of onboarded in too, is like Dogecoin, which is weird enough, man. I think Dogecoin is gonna onboard a lot of people, right? I came in and I saw all this, people were over here having fun. Of course, though, I bought at the right before the Saturday Night Live thing, and then I got freaking dunked on. And,
I was so bad about that.
Oh man, I got dunked on so hard, and then I was telling everybody it's gonna go up, and so it has not gone up. In fact, actually, it
has not ever gotten back to that point. No. Was that 34 cents? I think I remember the number.
Yeah, it was crashing hard, man. I was like, oh man, I messed up. So, and what was even funnier, it was actually at the time at my job, it was actually a financial advisor said, hey man, and he's like, you want to put like $300 into this? I think this is going to run right after Saturday Night Live because Elon's backing it. And then, I got wrecked so hard. It was so funny though. But, kind of like getting into like Crash Test Joyride, right? What exactly, like, it's very interesting, even like the artwork though, but what exactly are you guys and what are you guys trying to accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we are a collection of 4,444. Our main vision is streetwear, music, drip, man, and just creating really dope stuff, not for our holders necessarily. Yes, for the holders, but for Web2, for people to buy, to rock and identify with. And one thing about Crash Test, I've always felt like we're not different, but different when it comes to even the art style of the PFP. You don't see Crash Test dummies.
No,
it's so different. You see animals, you see all bunch of stuff, but you don't see that look. I mean, first of all, I fell in love with the art, me personally, just coming in as a community member. And then after I fell in love with, the people, D-Slim, Wiz, everybody. But our main vision, man, is, creating dope streetwear. It doesn't even have to be exclusively streetwear. I know a lot of people say this, but, we can brand anything, when it comes to any sort of lifestyle branding. I mean, you name it, right? There's a lot of things that we want to do. But also, being somewhere that's just supportive for really all of Web3. We've never been a tribalistic community when it comes to, you're in this, you're in that. Honestly, man, not a lot of people rock Joyrider PFPs, but I bet a lot of people have Joyriders, and it's all good, but our biggest thing is just executing on that vision of providing not merch, but really dope clothes to the community and outside of that community. And Jarek, I don't know if we took the project over. It wasn't like a hard rug, right? It wasn't like they deleted everything and all that jazz, which was a blessing. I think what happens to a lot of people when they start something like this, especially in the bull run, man, we're a 2.5 old project, man, we're old. They just don't realize the amount of work, they don't realize the amount of work. They get burnt out, bear market, then turn into, bull market, then turning into a bear market. People just get really discouraged. And that's what's happened. That's what happened to our 3 founders. But that same vision that they had, Jarek, is like what we all believed in too. right? Like, I know we can execute really dope clothes. I know we can fulfill those dope clothes. And I know there's a need for it because all we're seeing out here is black hoodies and with like your NFT slapped on top of it, right? Like, that's not what we're talking about. Nobody's going to buy that outside of a community, you know? And again, you know, making your community customers isn't, I don't think what this is about, right?
Sure.
You know, I think, you know, for them, they're the early investors. This is a business, you know, they have shares in this company. You know, they're looking to see growth and execution in the plan, right? And that's something for us. You know, we saw that vision. We loved the art. We loved each other. And, you know, when things just weren't going really well, and what's really crazy is that the founders had an initial drop, right? They dropped that Azalea collection, and I gotta tell you, bro, I've never spent more money on clothes than I did in that moment.
Yeah.
I was like $500 on freaking clothes.
Yeah.
But bro, like the sweatpants were just straight fire. Best pants I got. The shirts were high quality. The hoodies, the crew neck, them shorts were crazy. There was a blanket, which is just wild to me. That thing sits on my bed. My daughter loves it. They executed a great drop, and it doesn't look like merch. There's not just some rider slapped on it. It's like classy. It's freaking gas. But the fulfillment wasn't there, right? You know, we're waiting months on orders. There's not even a ticket system in the Discord.
Yeah.
They're not responding to emails. You know, it's overpriced. We're getting a 20% discount. That makes no sense. You know, so there's just a lot of bad that happened. And then their just responses to it weren't great. But thankfully, they were willing to facilitate a takeover. We were able to get some ETH, the rest of the previous collection, which was really awesome because we were able to comp that out to people. And then we, you know, promoted basically from within a core group of about 6 homies. You know, that's Maxwell, that's Heist, that's Pave Wiz, that's D Slim. I'm missing a couple, Tangi. And, you know, they were able to facilitate that over to us, contract everything. And really, honestly, big shout out to them 3 because they didn't have to do that. They could have just ran away with the whole bag, right? But again, that wasn't their intention. It wasn't their intention to do that. And from there, man, you know, we, you know, kind of just hit the ground running on what, you know, the plan was. Keep creating dope shit. You know, we've never done this. We've never created clothing drops or executed fulfillment like this. Not anybody on the team, at least. And, you know, I'm so proud of the squad, man. You know, they took this thing that, you know, listen, a lot of people were upset. And, you know, they put it on their back. You know, I'm just a CM. You know, I don't take responsibilities really in Web3. You know, I got a lot of work to do at home. Yeah. I got work to do at work. Like, I don't want this to be a job for me. So, but the homies, when they asked me, they're like, hey, you want a mod CM? You know, we don't think there'd be anybody else fit for the job but you. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I know you guys, man. I've been hanging out with you guys for 1.5 years. We talk every single day, of course. Absolutely. And I wouldn't do it for anybody else. No one's paid, you know, but what ended up happening was, you know, after a little while, because we've had the project now for 1 year and some change, we were able to execute another drop. You know, here's one of the hats, man. You know, multiple shirts, a beach towel. Actually, it's called the big ass beach towel, which was hilarious. That's literally the name on the site. And we were able to create a freaking clothing drop, man. And we actually, big shout out to Heist. So he's one of the team members. He's a pretty big DJ. He's been DJing in Tampa for about 20 years. I call him the plug man, bro. He got the plugs for everything you can think of. You know, we've been doing monthly mixes because of him. He's just reaching out to different DJs and getting these monthly mixes set up for us. You know, highly suggest barbecue, cookout. You're just chilling, perfect vibes. There's about 9 mixtapes out. And he was also able to get with Original Ting Music. So Original Ting, and we partnered with them on our first drop. We wanted to partner with them because they had a lot of the infrastructure when it comes to warehousing and stuff like that already set up, because that's what they do. So we wanted to kind of partner with them to see how this first drop went. And man, we sold it out, bro. You know, we sold it out. We had a 40% discount for holders, which to me was phenomenal. And also deserved, like they deserved it, right? I wish I could give it to them for free. But and a lot of the sales, Jared, came outside of Web 3. Most of the sales to sell this out came out from organically in Web 2, through Original Ting. Heist has been doing these pop-ups at clubs. Again, he's a DJ. He's got all the links up into these clubs. So I went out to one of these pop-ups, Jared, and I think I'm on a tangent now, but whatever.
No, go ahead.
And I went out to one of these pop-ups in Tampa. I'm here in South Florida. He's out in Tampa. I walk in, the bouncer has a crash test gear on, has a shirt on. I look to the left, there's the pop-up shop with people around it. Heist is over there just slanging clothes. Every waitress has crash test gear on. The DJ doing the set out on the floor got crash test gear on. It was so surreal to me to see that. It's almost like that meme where like, oh, they don't know I have a Joyrider at the party, man. It's like, these fools don't even know that's an NFT, And so it's just so surreal to me. Then we sold out the drop, man. And, we're working on our next drop after this. We also have collabed with the Slurp community. I'm assuming that you've heard. And, just to kind of pause real quick. Big shout out to Long Lost, Shredding Sassy, Uncanny, Brawler Bears. I mean, these communities, while we were getting rugged, basically, for those few dark months there, I call it the Great Rider Revolution of 2022. They had our back, man. They supported us from day one. So, just big shout out to them. But, we have a collective kind of skate deck that we've made a skate deck each community has, and we're going to do that, shred it. And donate all the proceeds to Toys for Tots. So, I mean, just stuff like that, man, is the name of the game. But, kind of in a nutshell, man, that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. We're going to keep going with these drops, man. We're not going to stop. And honestly, we're really blessed because a lot of these communities, when they rug or whatever happens, they don't get no ETH. They don't get no, shirts, clothes, anything from the previous founders. So, we're very blessed on that end.
Yeah, and kind of like in that aspect, right? Like you guys are still, what I like about like a lot of projects that have like these like brands, right? They're trying to start these brands that they're still very much incorporating like Web 2, right? Because we still need Web 2 for everything, right? And as talking about brands, right? And you guys are trying to build this brand, right? Like, what are you guys trying to kind of like, kind of model yourself like as? Is it more of like a Supreme kind of type vibe, or what would you kind of say is like y'all's inspiration, or where would you hope to be?
I hate to use the Supreme connection there, but we see Supreme doing this all the time, right? They have these exclusive drops month over month. They sell out freaking instantly, and then they resale for even more. Some of the stuff, right? I mean, that's the dream. I would love for that to happen. Another dream or vision that we would have, because again, you can't just be one thing, right? We can't just keep making clothes, I don't think. Another stream, revenue stream that we've been thinking about is, again, these parties and these mixes, like we can set up DJs, we can set up venues like that. Especially in Florida, we've been thinking about consulting, party planning almost, and that might be even more of like a Web3 niche, right? We see a lot, like we got Basel going on. I'm going to be out in Basel here in a couple days, tomorrow, really, and Saturday in Miami. We see all these projects doing events, right? And they don't, they're game NFTs, they're whatever they are, they don't know maybe how to set up a party like that. We can get the music, we can get whatever going. So, that's another thought and another vision and idea, and we kind of have the bones for it right now. But I'd say when it comes to the, almost like the lifestyle brand, I mean, Supreme, and that stuff takes time though, right, Jarek? Like Supreme just didn't pop up yesterday and like everyone loves them, right? It took time. It took subliminal marketing. It's kind of what I call it. Like you just see it in your peripheral, and then you keep seeing it and you keep seeing it. And that's kind of the goal, right? Get the clothes in the hands of these DJs. Man, we got, a number of DJs that do their sets in our gear, right? And that's 100, 550, whatever amount of people it is at the club or whatever it is. They're being exposed to the brand. We got the Instagram popping. Big shout out to Heist on that. In another avenue that, again, we've kind of been looking into, one of our owners, Tangi, he also owns a dropship car parts company, okay, for like performance parts. I think it fits beautifully to just brand some of these parts with crash test stuff, and use the IP in that regard as well. So definitely a couple things there, but I guess Supreme would be the only match I'd say right now, top of my head. Sure. To kind of like aim towards, right?
Yeah, and how often do these drops happen? Is it like just like a random, or you guys kind of like do you're like having an NFT, one of the crash test NFTs, it kind of gives you like maybe a clue on when it was going to happen? Like how often do these happen?
Yeah, so the first drop by the previous founders, that was kind of like a scheduled drop. It was actually behind, right?
Sure.
So it was kind of like sorry. Yeah. Got a bunch of people in my house, man. I'm over here in the kitchen right now. That was kind of like a scheduled drop because it was like on the roadmap, right? Like the roadmap was these clothes, a game, and that was about it. At first. So that first drop was scheduled, a little bit delay on that, but this last drop that we had, we worked on it for months. It was our first drop. We definitely gave people like about a month or two notice of like when it was happening. We were trying to get another drop out before the end of the year, but we didn't really want to rush it when it came to the designs. I think of maybe a bit sporadic, yes. But I definitely would like to get more of like a schedule on the drops going forward. But I would say at least once every 2 quarters, I'd feel like I'd want another drop. As long as, the design is there and the idea is there. Our last drop was kind of during summer. So it's got this really like big like beach vibe, like Florida kind of vibe. Like we got one with like a neon green tee. I might actually just throw that on here in a second. Like a neon with like a gator on it, you know what I mean? So it's very like a beach vibe, loose fitting clothing. The first drop was more of like big, heavy set clothing, boxy cuts. So I actually really liked this previous drop actually a lot more. It felt like more normal to wear it. Like, some of the other stuff is just like almost too much for me. But so I think a bit sporadic, but I would say every about 2 quarters, we'd want another drop going. Just kind of want to keep that momentum going. And also, to be honest, Jarek, it's fun. Sure. It's a great time getting with the homies, kind of going through designs, figuring out kind of what pieces we want in it. We never want just clothes. Like this last time we had cozies and beach towels and some other things. So I'm really interested to see what else the homies come up with when it comes to kind of those like accessories almost. So I'm really kind of excited to kind of keep it going with more stuff.
Yeah, no, and kind of like going back to the whole like rug part, right? When you guys were, the founders for whatever reason rugged you guys and everything like that. Like, can you talk about like maybe there's gonna be other projects that watch this too as well, right? And that they may have a couple of community members that are gonna take over a project, right? Can you talk about like how hard that is, right? And how much time and dedication and having to shake off like that kind of like the
negative,
that negative kind of cloud over you. Right? Can you kind of talk about that and how like you guys have one done that, right? And then 2, and here you are today. Like, can you just maybe give us a little bit more about that? I find that very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Honestly, it's such a great story. I can go on for probably hours about it. But it's something that really, I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn as shit. I don't quit. I don't give up. I'm going to argue with you until the wheels fall off if I feel like I'm right. And I think, while everything was happening, we didn't agree with what was happening, but we also didn't want to leave. We didn't want to give up. We all could have easily just said, F it, this is just another JPEG that has gone to zero for me. Whatever, next, right? And none of us wanted to do that. And so I think the first thing it takes when that stuff is happening is you got to have love for the project. You got to have love for each other. You got to have that fight. Got to have that dog in you. Just kidding. But not really. And I think it starts right there, because if you're willing to fight for something, then whatever it is, it's going to work out, So I think it starts right there. But when it comes to the amount of work, I don't think any of us expected it, how much it does really take, because, you can get extremely frustrated very quickly. And I got to say, man, like, you're going to lose part of your community if it goes for too long in those dark times, right? Some projects, they rug immediately. Maybe you still have the community right there kind of hyped. It was kind of like a 3-4 month period there where it was kind of happening to us. So we lost some people there, right? We brought some people back, and I think just managing your frustration with the community is really important. You can't expect everybody to just be gung-ho hyped just because now you took it over, right?
Yeah.
Now it's yours, now it's ours, whatever it might be. You got to understand that there is going to be a negative tone. They lost money on something. They either bought the top or they had a bad interaction with these founders, right? They have a bad taste in their mouth. The only way to gain trust back is by doing. You don't say it. You don't hound people. You don't chase them, right? You just do. When you do, and then people see it, that buzz will come back. That person will come back. And then you greet that person the same way you did 7 months ago when they were actively part of the community. One thing that really pisses me off is cell shaming, is telling people what they got to do with their own money. It's their bag. They do. I don't ask you what you do with your paycheck, do I?
Exactly.
So, stuff like that really bothers me. And I think, you got to have that patience with people, and you got to just really communicate with everyone and tell them what's going on. When the community took the project over, they voted for these 6 people to take it over. It wasn't just like, hey, it's us, right? There was a vote. We voted for these 6 people, and we had their back. Big shout out to the community, man. Not for 1 second, not one day did these people doubt us. Not for 1 second were they like, when are you guys going to do something? Like, they were just so grateful that, like, we're not going to zero, and that, like, somebody that actually loves this project and loves this art and loves this IP and loves this vision is actually executing and doing something. They gave us support. They gave us time. They told us their issues. You got to listen to people, man. It is so important when a project rugs. You got to gain that trust back. And it's so hard. It's such an uphill battle. But if you don't give up and you just keep your eyes on the prize, man, like it's going to happen for you. And I'll flip it to another thing. I talked about the Slurb community just a little while back. Mm-hmm. You got to have friends, bro. You got to have support from other people. You got to have other communities, right, that are involved to help you out. You got to throw ideas off people. Delegation's really important, right? And I think that starts with just the core team. I'm really happy that we had kind of 6 strong team members step up because they didn't have to. I'll kind of run through a little bit of them. Tangi, finance guy, man. You know what I mean? I don't know what he exactly does in real life. Whatever it does, he makes a lot of money and he does it well. Heist, DJ, marketer. I mean, been in the club scene for 20 plus years, the plug guy. Max, marketing guy. I mean, this dude, like, he's on the Twitter account. He's setting up contests. He's figuring out, contracts and numbers and sorting deals out. You got me, I just talk and hang out. That's all I really do. And stuff like that. So it's just, it takes that team. Everyone's got to be in a place, man. And also you got to have the plan and the vision of what you're doing. You can't do too many freaking things. Like, again, we're really blessed. We had some ETH, that helps, right? We had the collection, that helped. The clothes, that is. But you got to just stick to one plan and just execute it. You can't do too many things because you're not going to have a lot of room to mess up. You have no leeway. You have no buffer. So whatever you're doing, you got to do that 1-2 thing, and you got to execute and just go fucking balls to the wall on it. I hope that answered your question.
No, that was an amazing answer. I like that. Hey, keep it simple, execute on it, because you can't sit there and just, hey, I'm going to do this, that, and this for you guys. And whatever the founders, like, they had all this stuff done. Oh, I'm going to do all of it. No, just say, hey, we're going to focus on these 1 or 2 things. And kind of speaking with Crash Test Joyride, what are some of the other perks you have in actually like holding the actual NFT itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think this is an area we could probably do a lot better job with, honestly. We have a few discounts when it comes to like NFT engraver and like this healthy food food delivery system, which is cool. Obviously, discounts on the clothes are always going to happen. That's obvious. Honestly, man, outside of that, we don't have too much when it comes to like perks necessarily for holding the NFT. You know, I always kind of make a joke. I'll retweet everything that you ever post. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have a lot of supportive people for whatever it is that you're doing. And people ask me, how do you describe Crash Test? I just always say supportive. And again, that's what I really gravitated towards when I first came in. Whatever I wanted to do, they supported. Whatever any homie wants to do, projects, art, you know, music, YouTube channels, subscribe, whatever it is. So I think that's actually, you know, and I do think that is part of the community utility, right? But I would say that I would like a little bit more just general perks, you know what I mean, for holding the NFT itself.
Yeah, no, that's, at least you guys have that strong community and building out that, you know, very strong community as well. And I noticed you guys are on ETH, right? And I know maybe that you guys, I don't know, maybe you can't really answer it right now though, but do you guys plan to maybe like kind of go cross chain and go into other communities? 'Cause I see you guys around in other spaces, right? You know, Sassy being on Polygon and ETH, and, you know, other places too as well. Is that maybe in the future, maybe you guys kind of going and cross chain and hanging out, since you already do that anyway? Or maybe that's
I would love to, Jarek. I honestly, I would love to. I think, you know, the future is multi-chain. You know, I was in a space just, you know, right before this, with that fucking brand in the NFT community, and they were talking about, you know, which chain is best. And I think the answer is there is no one chain that's best, right? I think they all have pros and cons. You can bridge between them. Why not be multi-chain? Why not? You know, there's people that are, you know, polymaxis. Cool. My first Polygon space, Jarek, was yours, you know, in alleys. You know, it was great. It was a good time. You know, and it wasn't any different from an ETH space, bro. People were cool. We were vibing, you know. You know, there's Cardano, which nobody talks about. Cardano's huge. Cardano's a huge following and huge base. Solano, of course, you know, good old Sol, right? Good old Sol, which I feel like is like the redheaded stepchild in all of this, but I love him regardless. You know, and I think multi-chain's the way to go. I would love to go that route. I absolutely would love it. Funny thing is, man, you know, as an NFT project, what do you have? You have an artist and a dev, right? Usually, and then some people that do other things. We don't have either. We got left with no artists. We got left with no dev. But you know what's great about that is we have a whole community full of artists, and that was another big thing that Crash Test is about, the art. We have so many dope artists in the community. We tap in with them all the time. We did outsource a dev. We're kind of redoing the website. We weren't able to get the website from the founders because of just, you know, the previous just some issues there. So we are redoing the website. We did hire a dev. We outsourced that. You know, so I would love to go, you know, multi-chain. I just think right now it's definitely not a priority for us at all, but definitely in the future I would love to do that, especially if we have, you know, a dev kind of in-house without having to like outsource and pay them for every service. I think would make a lot of sense.
No, and kind of, you know, like DK, kind of like your own kind of personal kind of like opinion, right? If you had to kind of rank maybe your top 3 chains you would like to be on, right? You would love to be on kind of like in the future, like what would they be, right? Now, maybe not so much in any particular order, right? But like where would you like to go if you could?
Yeah, I mean, I would love Solano actually. And there's so many eyes on Sol, man. You know, people love Sol. I would love to be on Sol. I think Poly would probably be next for me. You know, Matic is, you know, Poly's, they're doing so many great things over there with that chain. And you know, and listen, they had some fun. They had a good bit of fun, like with their bridging system from, you know, that oh my god, it was such a bad bridge before. That's gotten a lot better. You know, and I guess next would be probably Cardano base. I'm kind of lukewarm on base, to be honest.
Cardano, that's good. No, yeah, man. I love my Cardano peeps too as well. I'm in Cardano. as well. So yeah, it's just yeah, I do think that multi-chain kind of like isn't the future, and kind of like being that, oh hey man, this chain's the best and everything like that. Like I like hanging out on different chains. I like hanging out on ETH, even though it's expensive, right? A little bit right now, but Solana, Polygon, Arbitrum, AVAX. Of course, I
Mm,
have a lot of friends on AVAX too as well. So yeah, man, like
I
multi-chain's
completely
the
forgot about
future.
those. I
Yeah,
completely forgot
AVAX,
about those
man.
ones.
AVAX is definitely a good one too, and kind of you said you have like the music part of Crash Test Joy, right? Like
Yeah.
what kind of, how is music going to kind of play into, or how does it play into the whole ecosystem?
Yeah, definitely. I just
Mm.
think it enhances the vibes, and listen, we're big on vibes, and we're really big on
Mm.
enjoying your own vibe, when you need to. And that goes with not only just the monthly mixes, right? That is
Yeah,
cool. I love those mixes. They're like an hour and a half long. Like I said, I throw them on all the time, man. It's a different DJ every single time. Heist actually did the last one, so he did the last one himself. Was freaking fire. Um, but I think that aligns right with the parties, right? The party planning,
sure.
right? Setting up these DJs for events, grabbing some people from Web3. Big shout out to NFT Momi. Dude's a goat. He's dropped multiple songs on Sound XYZ that have done very well, and the dude's got the sauce. Maybe doing events with a person like that in Web3, and then bringing them maybe into like the Tampa club scene and initiating them maybe to like more normies out here. So I think like when it comes to that is kind of how it all ties in, and I think streetwear, clothes, drip, that's all really close to each other, man. That's all real
Sure.
close, you know.
Yeah, and it's just I like that fact, right? You have like the whole branding that you guys are going to do, but since you're kind of new like me, right, and we kind of went through this kind of bear market, right? What kind of lessons have you learned in this bear market? Like, what has it taught you?
Don't be emotional,
Yeah,
you know. Simple answer, but don't be
yeah,
emotional. Emotions are good for the moment, but making decisions based off emotions are really, really bad. So I think emotions, that's a big piece there. Um, you know, I, I think just try to keep the positivity up when it comes to like what you're doing. I think balance is really important. When I first kind of started this, journey, even with Crash Test, man, I was going hard, bro. I was going hard,
yeah,
man. I'm basically, my whole reputation, what I'm known for is rating the shit out of tweets. Is finding your tweet within 30 seconds of you posting it and putting that bad boy in the Twitter group, finding raids, being active, just being and existing is like my reputation at all times. I'll tell you what, man, that's really, really hard to do for a long period of time. You know,
yeah,
you'll get, to wake up every single day and do a 9 to 5, in GM and raid all day and work and come home and take care of babies and then go to sleep and not do anything else and wake up and do it all again. After about a few months, man, it's not going to go well for you. So I think balancing, time off is another lesson that I've learned. You got to step away, go outside, do whatever you got to do. And I think these in real life events for me in the bear market have amplified it a lot. And Jake, I don't know if you've had like an in real life event with anyone from Web3. Oh, it's glorious, man. It's so
it
cool,
is
man. Like,
funny. It's
yeah,
funny.
yeah, it really is. It's like that first moment when you meet someone. It's like
Yeah,
kind of like maybe a minute, 2 minutes. You're like,
yeah.
and then it's like, oh shit, okay, we're vibing now.
You're calling them
So
by their Twitter name, like, oh hey man, it's Daddy J 42069 right here. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, and he's just like, oh, but his name is just like Brad.
my name's
Like, you know,
Ryan.
yeah,
I just had
yeah,
that moment at the last. So I've done quite a few of these. I went to LA for the Losty event. We had the pop up in Tampa that I met Heisty for the first time selling the clothes. We met up we also had an event at Orlando Speed World, which was so dope. We were like slinging clothes while people were driving up to the drag strip. It was really cool. And I'm meeting like people's wives and stuff, and I'm like, hi, my name is DK.
yeah,
My name's Ali. Nice to meet you. It's like, yo, I don't. No one calls me DK in real life. You know, it's like my gamer tag for middle school, so I always just used it.
Yeah.
But you know, so yeah, I always find that really, really funny, man, with the names, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just really cool to see people. You quickly realize that Web3, Web2, it's all the same shit, man. It's how you treat people, it's how you work, it's how you interact. It's all the same thing. There's really no difference here. Same with the marketing, same with, you know, businesses, right? We talk about rugs. How many small businesses go under in a year or 2 years?
Yeah.
Most of them.
Most of them. Yeah. No, you're
I mean,
right,
do we
man.
go to that business owner that failed and like, hey, you rugged us? No, you know, not necessarily. You know what I mean? But it's a little different, though. You know, when it comes to actually rugging something. But you know, so you know, I think all this is very much connected. You know, it's really all the same thing. I think we just like to hide behind little internet pictures, though.
That's funny. Like, you know, oh, hey, man, it's like Firecrotch, you know, like, you know, 69 over there. And you're just like, oh, dude, it's just freaking, you know, Brian or something like that. But as far as IRL events, like, how many more? You guys have them quite often, or are you guys
Yeah, man.
more? How often do y'all have them?
No schedule. Vibes only. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we have a huge event coming up in January. So we partnered with Pangea Sound. They do so many dope parties, bro. So we got a massive event happening in January 17th. Out in Tampa at the Crowbar. So we're sponsoring the event with Pangea Music, and you know, we've done quite a few this year. We've done at least 4 this year, whether it be random pop-ups at a club, or it's Orlando Speed World. You know, we also, you know, we sent out some clothes to Shredding Sassy for, you know, they have Shred Fest, you know, earlier in the year. Whoever won, the winner of the best crash won some of the gear, you know, and stuff like that. So we want to regularly have events. And I think that's why this January event is almost going to be like our inaugural, like, pop-off party. You know, we've now planned this event months in advance. Unlike the other couple of pop-up and events, we're very kind of quick in the moment. So I think this is going to be our first big one. And then I'm hoping once a quarter we got something going on. Because also for Heist, usually when you do these parties, you don't want to blow all your ETH on parties because that's just irresponsible. But that's why we're a little bit different, because Heist has these inns in these venues. You know, they're probably going to be in Tampa though, so I'm sorry for anybody that can't make it to Florida. But you know, he has these in these venues. You know, basically he can book the venue for damn near free because they know that, you know, it's probably going to pop off or make money anyway. So, you know, we do have some of those plugs, which are very helpful. Big shout out to Heist, man. Love that guy.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, that's amazing. You guys have a lot of like IRL events, but you know, I will kind of ask you this though. You know, you guys have, you know, you guys are starting to come back, right? You've made this comeback. You have all these things that you guys are going to try to do, but a year from now, right? And I think, you know, a year from now, you know, this time the market's going to look a lot better, right? We're going to be in a lot better place. Having would have happened though, but where would you like Crash Test Joyride to be a year from now?
Yeah, I would like to have a couple contracts with other projects for their merch. I would love to design clothes for other projects and fulfill them. And I think honestly, man, I mean, I might be a bit biased. We probably got the best clothes out here. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, you know, again, a little bit biased there, but you know, I don't like to toot my horn too much, but I do think it's clean. It's, you know, on point. And I think we could replicate a lot of that for a lot of different collections. That's I would love to also already be doing some of these events for other people. I really, in a year, I want to have, hopefully we want to have a few customers, right? Like, you know, a few contracts under our belt where we're bringing money back into the project via providing a service versus just selling clothes. On another note, another, you know, wish list for me is, you know, that we're able to supply, you know, another collection for free for holders. Whether it's you claim one item or something
Yeah.
like that. I think I really want it, and again, I think that ties into getting some more streams of income coming in from some of these contracts and customers. And then we can do a little bit of that, paying off, not paying off, but, allowing some of our big holders, to get some custom gear for damn near free, maybe pay shipping. We have some great whales, Jarek. Tangi, one of the, owners of the company now. We're LLC'd and everything too, so big shout out to them. He's our whale. He's our number one holder. He might be number two now, though. I think Hey Dog that might get him. But during everything, he could have very easily dumped his bag where he spent a lot of money on and sent us to zero expeditiously, and he didn't. And so big shout out to him. So people like him, people like Hey Dog, people like Ghost, I really want to just give them some free shit. They deserve it. Yeah. And hopefully, this floor price, I don't like talking about floor too much. I mean, we're at a decent floor, but hopefully the floor price also is at like 0.2, 0.15, where some of these homies can take some profit, man, get some peas back. And because again, like I said, they deserve it,
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And I do appreciate you kind of coming on, man, and spending time with me here. I know you being so late with you and kind of getting off work, but before you go, right, is there anything else you want to say, or any community members you want to shout out, or anybody you want to shout out in general?
Yeah, absolutely, man. First of all, I want to shout out. We've been going back and forth with this thing, man, and I really appreciate you, like, not getting frustrated with me missing one day, and like, know what I mean. Worries, and also, man, I just love what you're doing, bro. I think this is really important. Having these like cozy one-on-one conversations where, I feel very comfortable to talk very freely about everything going on, and you're really kind of getting the deets to everybody. I'm really just enjoying. So I appreciate you. I want to give a huge shout out to the whole Slur collective. That's Shredding Sassy, Long Lost, Uncanny Country Club, Crash Test, of course, and Brawler Bears. I mean, these guys are doing amazing things out here, and I couldn't be more proud and more honored to be right alongside them with everything that they got going on. I want to give a huge shout out to Sleet, as you know, bro, one of, I think, probably the best CM out here. Sorry, every other CM. I'm so sorry. He's the best. He's absolutely phenomenal. He was the spearhead when it came to this Slurb skateboard deck donation shredded TV idea. That is all his baby, man. He spearheaded that. He grabbed everybody. He facilitated it. Big shout out to him. I want to give a special shout out to Random Hero, a community member for us turned into a mod. I mean, man, when I get busy, when I got training classes in life, Hero's right there with the raids, up in the chats, helping people out, vibing. He's always on point. I met him in real life too on this last event that we had. Just a great dude. He's not from Florida, but he's definitely a Florida man. That's for sure. Yeah. So big shout out to him. I mean, Ghost, our number 3 holder. Hey Dog, our number 2 holder. Love you guys. You guys have been holding it down forever, man. D Slim and Pave Wiz. If it wasn't for Slim, got me in my first Twitter chat, my first space, my fucking first everything. I feel like I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for D Slim. I wouldn't know what the hell was going on out here if it wasn't for him. There's a lot more, man. I can keep going, but I think I'll leave it at that. And I just really appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate you, man. And thank you. And this is going to kind of wrap our show, guys. If you like content like this, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on X. Follow Crash Test Joyride on X too as well. And we'll see you guys around in the next one. Take care.